Join me as I dive into the creepy world of Slender Man to find out if this monster is real or just a chilling legend. Slender Man, a name that sends chills down many spines. But where did this urban legend come from? Born from the depths of internet folklore, Slender Man has become a household name, a modern myth with a presence that's deeply rooted in our collective psyche. His story is one of mystery, horror, and even tragedy. But is he a real monster, or just a figment of our imagination? The answer is more complicated than you might think. At first glance, Slender Man appears to be nothing more than an internet creation. A faceless, unnaturally tall figure with elongated limbs, always dressed in a black suit, lurking in the background of eerie, doctored photographs. His presence is subtle yet terrifying, a shadowy stalker who watches, waits, and, according to legend, claims his victims in the dead of night. He has no eyes, yet he sees everything. He makes no sound, yet you can feel his presence before he even arrives. But where did this nightmare come from, and how did it spread like wildfire? The birth of an urban legend. Slender Man's origins can be traced back to the Something Awful forums in 2009, when a user named Victor Surge participated in a Photoshop contest that involved creating supernatural images. He posted 2 eerie, black and white photos depicting children playing, with a tall, faceless figure lurking in the background. Alongside these images were captions suggesting a dark and mysterious entity that preyed on the innocent. What happened next was something no one could have predicted. The internet took hold of this concept, and Slender Man evolved. People added their own stories, turning him into a full-fledged myth. Soon, his legend was no longer confined to a couple of eerie images. He became the focus of countless online stories, YouTube series, video games, and even a major motion picture. But while his origins are rooted in fiction, the fear he inspires is very, very real. The fear factor. Why does Slender Man terrify us? Why does Slender Man affect us so deeply? What is it about this faceless figure that burrows into our subconscious and lingers long after we've turned off the screen? Psychologists believe Slender Man taps into primal fears: fear of the unknown, fear of being watched, fear of something we cannot fight or even comprehend. His lack of a face makes him particularly disturbing. He could be anyone, or no one at all. He blends into the darkness, stretches the limits of human form, and exists just beyond the edge of our understanding. Furthermore, he is often associated with places that already carry a natural sense of unease: dark forests, abandoned buildings, isolated roads. Places where, if something were to happen to you, no one would hear you scream. When fiction influences reality. The impact of Slender Man isn't just limited to the internet. His legend has inspired real-life consequences, some of which are deeply disturbing. One of the most shocking cases happened in 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin. 2 12-year-old girls lured their friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. Their reason? They believed they were acting under the orders of Slender Man. They thought that by carrying out this horrifying act, they would become his followers, proving their loyalty and gaining his protection. This incident sent shockwaves across the world. How could a fictional character influence real-life violence? It led to debates about the impact of horror, the power of suggestion, and the vulnerability of young minds to internet-driven folklore. While their victim miraculously survived, the case became a chilling reminder that sometimes, the most terrifying monsters aren't supernatural beings, but rather, the darkness that lurks within us. Sightings and alleged encounters. Despite his fictional origins, there are those who claim to have seen Slender Man in real life. Reports of tall, faceless figures watching from the shadows have popped up in online forums, ghost story communities, and even police reports. Some claim that Slender Man is similar to ancient folklore creatures like the German Der Grossmann, a mythical tall man who kidnaps children. Others compare him to shadow people, mysterious entities that have been reported for centuries. Could it be that Slender Man is simply a modern version of a much older fear? There are eerie stories of hikers going missing in forests after claiming they saw a tall, shadowy figure stalking them. Some have even reported sleep paralysis experiences where a faceless being stood at the foot of their bed, watching them, waiting. Are these just the mind's way of playing tricks, or could there be something more to these accounts? A deeper look at the mythology. Slender Man's mythology has grown far beyond its original form. While his early stories depicted him as a silent predator lurking in the woods, later iterations introduced ideas of mind control, supernatural teleportation, and the ability to stretch his limbs to unnatural lengths. Some versions of the myth claim that he abducts children and takes them to an unknown realm, never to be seen again. Others believe he causes madness, driving his victims to paranoia before making them disappear. Some online storytellers have added layers to the myth, suggesting that Slender Man isn't just a singular entity, but rather a manifestation of fear itself. His presence grows stronger when people believe in him. The more he is discussed, the more real he becomes. It's a concept similar to the tulpa, a being that exists only because enough people think it does. What does Slender Man represent? Beyond the scares and the stories, Slender Man represents something more profound. He is a digital age boogeyman, a manifestation of the fears that come with our hyper-connected world. The fear of the unknown. The fear of being watched. The fear of losing control. Urban legends have always served as cautionary tales, warning us of the dangers lurking in the dark. Slender Man is no different. He is a reminder that while some horrors may be fictional, the emotions they evoke are very real. He is proof that the line between myth and reality is thinner than we'd like to believe. Some researchers believe Slender Man is a symbol of the modern anxieties we face. He appears when we feel alone, when we are vulnerable. He is faceless, mirroring the way our fears often lack a clear source. He embodies isolation, paranoia, and the dangers of the digital world, where information, both true and false, spreads rapidly and influences those who consume it. The final question, is Slender Man real? The logical answer is no. Slender Man was created on the internet. But in a way, isn't he real? If enough people believe in something, does it not take on a life of its own? If a mere idea can influence actions, inspire art, and even drive people to the edge of madness, can we truly say it doesn't exist? Perhaps the question we should be asking isn't whether Slender Man is real, but rather, why do we want him to be? Why do we love to scare ourselves with these stories? Why do we create myths that haunt us, generation after generation? The truth is, Slender Man is a reflection of ourselves. A manifestation of our darkest fears and desires. And whether he is real or not, his presence in our collective consciousness is undeniable. Thanks for joining me on this terrifying journey into the world of Slender Man. If you have a theory about this legendary figure, or if you've had a personal encounter, share it with me in the comments below. And if you're craving more spine-tingling content, be sure to check out my next video, where I'll be uncovering another horrifying mystery. Until then, keep your eyes open and your lights on. You never know who or what might be watching.